Good morning. Hi. I'm T. Waldron. This is my cat, Pumpkin. Hi, Pumpkin. Thanks for being here. I'll try to move this tripod. There we go. Okay. So, today is Thursday. I want to say it's March 5th. Anyway, I hope you're having a great morning or evening. Let's do some deep breathing, and then we're going to read from this book called Resilience by Eric Greitens. Hard-won wisdom for living a better life. Okay, I did actually look up a passage before we start because I want to make sure it's decent before I waste your time with sharing this. Hey, good morning, Kevin. Good to see you. Let's close our eyes for a minute if you're not driving or operating heavy machinery. And we're going to inhale through our nose and exhale through our mouth. We're slowing our breath down. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. With each healing breath, we'll focus on connecting our heart with our mind. And exhale. That's right. Yeah. And as we have heart and brain coherence, we become stronger as individuals. So I hope that gives you something to think about today. Okay, so here's this book, Resilience. Okay, and I'm just going to read to you what this book is about. In 2012, Eric Greitens unexpectedly heard from a former Navy SEAL comrade, a brother in arms he hadn't seen in a decade. Zach Walker had been one of the toughest of the tough, but ever since he returned home from war to his young family in a small logging town, he's been struggling. Without a sense of purpose and plagued by PTSD, masking his pain with heavy drinking every day, he needed help. And Eric set down his thoughts on what it takes to build resilience in our lives. So they exchanged letters every single day and calls. And Eric was, the author of this book was trying to help his friend, Zach Walker. And so this we're going to read from a letter to Walker. Good morning. Hi, I love God. Welcome. Good morning, Art. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having a great day. And by the way, I want to thank our moderator, Imran Hossain, for moderating the chat and also for editing some videos for us and also creating great SEO YouTube optimization. He's great at that. So again, this book is Resilience by Eric Greitens. So this chapter is letter number 3 called What is Resilience? And it starts with a quote by Ernest Hemingway. There are some things oh boy, that's easy for him to say. Let me start over. There are some things which cannot be learned quickly, and time, which is all we have, must be paid heavily for their acquiring. So yeah, so when it's something worth learning, right, we have to put time into it, and it's worth it, according to Hemingway. I tend to agree with that quote there. So here Eric is writing to his friend Walker. Walker, I want to share a story written by a fellow veteran named Sophocles. The Trojan War was the great war of the ancient Greek world, and at its beginning, thousands of warships set sail to assault the city of Troy. On the way, the Greeks stopped to rest on the island Chrysae. Sophocles wrote a play about what happened there and about the struggles of a man named Philocletes. Philocletes was a great archer, blessed with a magical bow that never missed its mark. But at Chrysae, he stepped by accident onto ground that was sacred to the gods, and a venomous snake bit his foot. His wound was no ordinary wound. It festered and rotted and gave off a smell so foul that other men could not stand to be near Philocletes. His wound would not heal. Odysseus ordered the men to row Philocletes to the nearby deserted island and abandon him there. And the army set sail for war. Over the next 10 years, Philocletes remained stranded on the island with a wound that never healed. The pain was unrelenting and at times so sharp that he lost consciousness. So, hey, William Barry, welcome. Yeah, this is Pumpkin. She's 17 years old. Can you turn around, Pumpkin? Your face is so much prettier. She does what she wants. She's a cat. Alone and forgotten, Philocletes brooded over his wound and cursed his former friends. In those same 10 years, Odysseus and his warriors, fought at Troy. But even after all of their struggle, the war remained a stalemate. They consulted a prophet who predicted that the Greeks would remain powerless to win without Philocletes and his weapon. Odysseus and a select unit returned to the deserted island with a simple mission: to get the bow and Philocletes back. They found Philocletes still wounded and bitter, and they begged him to sail with them to Troy. Enraged by his abandonment, Philocletes refuses to help. He wants only to go home to Greece to be healed and left alone. At the moment Odysseus is about to give up, Heracles, once a hero and now a god, appears from the sky. He commands Philocletes to fulfill his destiny, and he says, "Be certain that to you too is owed to suffer this, to make your life glorious after and through these labors." Heracles tells Philocletes that only if he lets go of his grudge, that's a good advice, let go of the grudge and joins the Greeks at Troy, can he be healed. Philocletes chooses. He and Odysseus set sail, and eventually, as the prophecy promised, the Trojan War is won. So Sophocles, who handed down this story, was more than a playwright. Oh God, there's another word here. Like Aeschylus, his older countryman, Sophocles had known war. So had the people in his audience. When the Athenian audience came to hear the retelling of this story in the open-air theater at sunrise, the time when tragedies were traditionally performed, the spectators surely felt echoes of their own sacrifices and the wounds that they and those they loved had suffered. The Athenians honored Sophocles for his ability to depict it all with such honesty. And after one of his most popular plays, they elected him to the office of strategos, a very important post in Athens, which brought with it responsibility of leading troops in battle. Perhaps this was simply a vote for a celebrity, but perhaps it was also reflecting something deeper, the understanding that someone who could write with such wisdom about hardships of war and the responsibilities of community could also lead with wisdom. He goes on this book. But basically, I think the idea was that, in order to really understand what other people may be going through, we may have to go through things ourselves. So what do you think? Hi, Mordecai. Welcome. Good afternoon. Actually, good afternoon to you. Yeah, so I love that. I'm trying to see. And then he ends with a quote: "There is only one road to true human greatness, the road through suffering." And that Albert Einstein said that. I don't disagree with that. Sometimes we have to become uncomfortable to grow. And usually I find when the greatest discomfort or challenges, that's when we have the most growth. Come on, Pumpkin. There you go. There you go. Okay. I know. Can you believe that? Anyway, yeah, nothing replaces experience. That's so true, Art. I agree with that. It's like we can read about a million things, and then until we actually are going through something and feeling it and experiencing it and figuring out a way to survive it, that's when we grow. I love that. And also, I think another point that I've learned recently is growth comes through action. So a lot of times we're sort of frozen. Like, what do we do? Do we go this direction or that direction? And that can be really, really hard. You don't know which direction you should take in your life. Maybe what you should do that afternoon, what's going to have the best impact. So I try to kind of take a moment and think about it. Like, what does my heart say? So I'm trying to, again, that's why we do these meditations involving the heart and our brain, because a lot of times our brain will say, well, we have to do this, 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 and this. But actually our heart is much wiser than our brain on many things. And so if we look at the logical stuff, sometimes we need that, of course. You okay? But also our heart knows. So if we can tap into both, you know, maximize both and try to figure out what's best for us. Yeah. Hey, Lover Chic, welcome. Anyway, I hope you all have a great day. I'm going to run off and teach Tai Chi now. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day or evening. Again, I'm T. Waldron, and this is my cat Pumpkin. And again, she's 17, and she's here for you guys. So enjoy the rest of your time. Heart and brain is a good combo. Yeah, I agree with you, Art. Thanks. Take care, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow, 8 a.m. Bye.